This is First 7 Days, a series where I give my first impressions on Fall Guys updates, more specifically the first 7 days. I will not be talking about any changes made to creative levels, things that got removed or added past September 10th, and for the sake of transparency, I've linked a zip file in the description to a spreadsheet that shows games I played during the first week, courtesy of Fall Guys Stats. I would resume playing the game on September 18th since I was done scripting this video. The Hunt game mode has now been renamed to Points, much like how Race was changed to Course in the 10.9 AK Fall Forever update. And while it does feel like a piece of the game's history is gone, I think the change to Points was a good one, cause really, the only levels you could call Hunt was the Penguin maps, whereas all the other ones required you to collect a certain amount of points, such as Airtime, Bubble Trouble, Hoopsy Legends, and Skiffall to name a few. With this update, we'd also get the Points game mode in Creative. Overall, I'm really excited to see what people make with this new game mode, cause there's a lot of potential, a lot of things that you can do with this game mode. With the 11.2 update, we would get a brand new theme, and they based quite a few things around it. Firstly, we got a new 3D background in the lobby based on the update's theme, that being Scrapyard. Creative mode would get the Scrapyard background, the Fame Pass would also be based on the Scrapyard theme, and the way everything was laid out, it closely resembles a season of Fall Guys, but I'll go into more detail about that later in the video. And I'll be honest, I love the Scrapyard theme, especially the skybox. To me, it's the best one they've added so far. It's incredibly detailed and I could stare at it for hours. Plus the little flying plunge boss in the background I could die for. I wish they still did 3D skyboxes in creative mode, cause good lord would this look incredible in 3D. Although the argument could be made because the fact it's in 2D is the reason why they're actually able to add so much. If it was in 3D, maybe they wouldn't be able to add as much detail. With the Scrapyard theme, we would get destructible objects, new colors, and decorations corresponding to the Scrapyard theme. I do wish they changed the podium or plinth your character stands on. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Scrapyard theme, but just something new. We've had this one since the Fall Force AK 10.4 update, but all in all, a very nice theme. Fame Pass 13 follows a trend of being named after the month released in, that being September, more specifically September 3rd, so the Fame Pass is called September 2024, which is disappointing, but not the end of the world. This pass follows a Scrapyard theme, and I believe is the first Fame Pass to follow the theme of the update, which is very much like how they used to do it in seasons. The pass was also released on the same day as the update, that being September 3rd. The pass has 70 tiers, which became the standard since Fame Pass 10 AK May 2024. And in terms of content, the only things I like are the 2 Paladin or the 2 Knight skins, those being Sir Gallant Tape, which is based on the Paladin, and the Homemade Hero, which is based on Dark Knight. Homemade Hero is legit the meme in which someone asks their mother for something, like the Dark Knight for example, and the mother responds with, "We have it at home," and it's just a bootleg version. But I will say, it does fit in line with the Scrapyard theme since it looks like it got cobbled together in a junkyard. But nah, the deep jungle faceplate is absolutely hilarious. You cannot convince me that they didn't know what they were doing with that one. For those who don't know, let's just say when you consume a certain substance, your eyes may become bloodshot red. Overall, I don't really like this Fame Pass all that much. The last one that I really liked was Fame Pass 11 AK June 2024. As compared to the 11.1 update, the round pool for the classic modes or solos, squads, and duos hasn't changed that much, which is fine since in that update they unvaulted 9 classic levels and only vaulted 2. After 719 days, they would unvault Bubble Trouble. It would first get vaulted on July 15th, 2022. They would add it back to the game on September 15th. However, the level will later get removed on the same day due to the bubbles not spawning, making it to where no one could qualify. You could still play the map in custom lobbies however, more specifically in the Vault Show, which houses most of the vaulted maps in the game. However, due to a bug and where the map wouldn't load, it would get removed from the Vault Show on September 13th, 2023, and it couldn't be played through normal means. In the Fall Forever update AK 10.9, they would remove the game files for it. However, on September 3rd, 2024, it's finally back, and like all the Hunt rounds, it's been changed to points. I legit never thought I would see the day where Bubble Trouble would be added back to the game. And honestly, with them introducing the points game mode to creative, it is literally the perfect time to reintroduce it. It's so wild to me to see how many people who may have first played Fall Guys when it went free to play may have never played this level or only played it a few times. The spinning disc in the middle is bigger, and as a result, we spawn on top of it, which sucks because you could go in the opposite direction to where the bubbles are. And another change I noticed is that in the boxing glove zone, there are gloves that shoot upwards. And according to this reply from Macy333 that was made on Bro HF's comment on a community post I made, it's apparently a variation that was introduced in Season 1 Free For All aka SS1. And I'll be honest, I legit didn't know that. that. Bubble Trouble is in solos, squads, and duos, and I'm just so happy to see it back. Solos contains 52 maps, squads has 73, and duos has 66 maps. And I don't think I remember a time where a single mode has had over 60 maps. I haven't been keeping count, so maybe this has been a thing for a few updates, and as someone who's made a video on how the limited round pool was killing the game, the round pool has improved so much and genuinely just puts a smile on my face. The bulk of the round pool changes would be a knockout. In total, knockout has 40 maps, 25 made of Fall Guys Creative, and 15 Unity or Classic maps. Royal Fumble got removed from knockout for some reason and got replaced by Hexagon. I think this happened on day 1, and I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Royal Fumble, so I don't really care all that much. Plus the map is still in the other modes, just not knockout. Out of the 25 creative levels, 14 of them are made by Miotonic. The new levels that will be added on September 3rd are the following: Box Party, Chicken Gulch, Circle O Slime, Corones Sur Platformes, Floating Island Fumble, Invasion of the Bean Snatchers, Jungle Extreme, Jungle Cruise, Knights Run, Magnet Mayhem, Mind the Gap, Pixel Path, Shape Up, Slide and Smash, Sorted Out, Top of the Trash, Treadmill Tumble, Wild Dunes, and Wonderful Towers. They kept 6 levels from the previous rotations. Since I was forced to play Knockout due to the Scrapyard Stumble Lab event, which I will talk about in a later section, I managed to play all of the levels in Knockout, but I'll only be giving my thoughts on the new ones. Let's go in order, starting with Box Party. I've played this map 6 times and I just don't like this level. It feels like a worse version of Chicken Gulch. Boxes are too few and far between. It took me a lot longer than I cared to admit to realize that you had to stand on top of the pressure plate to turn on the fan that blows the blocks onto the floor. Since there's only a handful of blocks, everyone is going after the same one, which makes it anyone's guess who'll get the point. The idea of the blocks being on the conveyor belts is neat, and the design of the map is alright, but not my favorite, especially out of the new levels they added. I would much rather play Chicken Gulch, and speaking of that, the next one is Chicken Gulch. I've played this map 5 times and I just love the way this map looks, and with how spread out the map is and the fact that it's a ball instead of blocks makes it to where it bounces, and if it cracks it gives you the point. I don't feel like I'm fighting over the point as much, and also great how there's a gold point you can get, and at first I did not like the level, but the more I played it the more I enjoyed it. It also helps that I got better and knew when to pick my fights. Circle O Slime is just an incredible finale, period. I love the fact that the slime is constantly moving and the fact that the arena changes as the blocks break, and that there are different paths you can choose to maneuver. One of the levels where it requires skill to win but has the element of RNG with the cracking blocks. You also have to be mindful of other players who could grab you, which adds a certain level of intensity. This might be my favorite map Miotonic made in creative mode, and oh yeah, I played this level 13 times. Next up is our first player made round, that being Corones Sur Platformes. I've played this level 6 times and this is incredibly nitpicky, but I don't like the pink flooring used. I can't describe it properly, but it looks too smooth. It just has no texture, so it just feels bleh. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it just feels weird to me. However, this is where the complaints stop, because I love how the course is mainly padded beams positioned in different ways and is used as a foundation. It looks like one of those obstacle courses you would see in carnivals. The overall layout is nice. Love how there's a fast yet risky path and a slower but safer path, and the course doesn't feel too big and empty, yet it feels big enough to accommodate all the players. And overall, I like how simple the level is, and with more playthroughs I'm sure I'll improve and appreciate it more. I also love how they customize the start and finishing line by overlapping. I wish it was something we all could do, but it stands out and the final section is pretty cool. I like the fact that you can sprint jump on the padded beams and effectively blitz through the final section. Floating Island Fumble is up next, and I've played it 9 times, and I've only got to the level in round 1, and as a starter level, it's pretty decent. Not going to win any awards in terms of looks as it's fairly bare bones, but it does live up to the floating island part of its name. However, I will say, getting to the top path at the start is just annoying. I can never land on the drawbridge, or when I'm in the air, the bridge is never lowered, and it's pretty useless compared to the bottom path, especially if you know that you can jump over the small triangle that's on the fan blade, and that you can jump dive to the second last slam slide that's at the bottom, instead of taking the one that's in front of you. If you time it right, you can immediately land on the final slide and qualify. And even though it wasn't really necessary, I love how the starting area, the one with the disc, actually has this sort of little scaffolding that actually connects it to the top path. And also the two slime slides at the start actually are connected by the same sort of support beams, but they're connected to one of the floating islands. I love when people go above and beyond, and this is stuff they would actually see in the classic Unity levels. Even though I don't really mind the area with these slime slides, I just feel like they're kinda there. Maybe I would try replacing one of the slime slides with maybe a trench, and maybe it has like a speed arch in it, but you could argue that could actually sort of, make that section a little too fast, because right now I feel like the second slime slide, the one with the speed bump, is just pretty useless considering that you can actually just jump to the bottom. I would maybe try and rework that area, because I feel like that and also how you get to the top path is definitely the map's weak spot. And I think it would be pretty cool if the treadmills in the final section actually change directions every once in a while. When comparing to the other levels that were added in the knockout refresh, this one definitely feels the more simpler one. I wouldn't be surprised if most people just don't like the level or just make fun of the level because of just the fact that it just is sort of simple. It doesn't really have a lot going on. But even though I do find this map to be definitely one of the more weaker ones, it doesn't mean I don't enjoy the map whenever I get it. It's definitely a very fun map to try and speedrun. Invasion of the Bean Snatchers. I've gotten this level 3 times and I've died within the first 15 to 20 seconds every time. I can't judge the level fully, but can say 2 of my deaths were something I could not react to. In terms of looks, all I can say is I love how it's set on a farm and the background has imagery of beans getting abducted by aliens. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with what it's based on, which is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, so I have no idea how accurate the setting is. The level itself is pretty creative, pretty on brand for the UFO to be rotating with the slime acting as the beam. The level doesn't really look all that great, but with a concept as great as this one, that doesn't really matter all that much. Makes me wonder, how would this level look if it was made in Unity or any other game engine? Let's talk about Jungle and Stream. I played 7 games with this and the level is pretty tightly packed, which some may hate, but I personally don't mind. However, I will say I don't like the first area with the bumpers and hammers. I wish going to the right side at the start was viable, and also wasn't necessary to put bumpers at the edge of the stairs. This was done so you had to go wide, which sucks. Other than that, the level is pretty fun. I'm glad you can skip the section with the batons and pendulum by jump diving to the right side and climbing up. But the section with the batons and pendulum isn't bad, but skipping them is great, cause the map maker could have put a respawn zone and blocked it off entirely, but I'm glad it's an option. Love the rotation controller being used to rotate this object like it's one of those water wheels. Just so creative. Jungle Cruise is a one-way ticket to the lobby. I've played this level only 3 times and only qualified on it once. The level is incredibly creative. It's based on those multi-level parking lots. When you're done with one section, you climb up to the next floor and onto a new raft. It's one of those levels I wish appeared more so I can get better at it, and so I can have shorter games, because I love levels that just kills half the lobby. Overall, a fun yet difficult level, especially the last floor. Knight's Run. This was a level that I played 5 times and oh my god, this level just looks gorgeous and is just well made. This is one of those levels that shows the potential of creative mode. It's also nice how you can go around the hex tiles. They could have put a respawn zone but didn't, which is awesome. I suppose if I did have a complaint, and this is a very minor complaint, is that the first section, the one with the bridge and hammer, moves a bit too slow. But again, that is a very minor nitpick and it's something that probably most won't really care to complain about, and it just shows how the level is well made. Also, maybe the little gate at the final stretch where it actually closes and open that's near the finish line, I wish that would also be changed. Maybe make it to where the gate doesn't close as fast, but other than that, the level is awesome. Magna Mayhem is made by Miotonic and is as simple as it gets. The platforms will get sucked up and you have to survive. I played this level 6 times and it's a pretty cool concept all things considered. I do like pushing unsuspecting people off the map, but overall, not much to say. It's an okay level at best. Mind the Gap is up next and I've only played this level 4 times, but it feels like I've played this level at least 15 times for some reason. This level is basically the traditional gauntlet level where you go from start to finish in a straight line, and I do like how they use the destructible blocks as sort of platforms, and if you're behind, you actually have to watch out and think, is it worth it to go on the blocks or will it crack by the time I get there? And also the little purple sort of elongated platforms actually do have the physics option enabled if I recall correctly, because if you jump on it, it actually reacts to your weight. And also the crane decoration is actually being used in a way where it's like it's actually moving the pendulum, which is a pretty nice little touch. But overall, when comparing to the other levels that Miotonic have made for this particular refresh, this is the more forgettable one. Pixel Path is up next, and I'm finding it odd how I've played most of the levels at least 6 times. things, including this one. I believe it's the first and only digital theme level that got added on this refresh. I do like how the first path is fairly straightforward and easy to pass. The side path with the triangles is the best path to take, but the other side is easier, but not that easy to where you shouldn't take the triangle path. Again, I love when options are given. When I first played the level, I knew it would be too obvious to try and fly over the discs and skip everything, but I thought the map maker knew that and put a respawn zone, so I never bothered trying until I saw a guy do that and just said, wait, you can skip a huge part of the map? And I just freaking love that. It really helps in speedrunning the level. I've messed up more on the ending section than I care to admit, mainly on the part with the rotating donuts. I don't really know how, but it just always gets me. Also love the overlapped finish line. Overall, a decent little level with a lovely skip. Shape Up is the closest thing to a logic level, and the idea behind it is incredible. Well, once you understand how it works, because the first time I played it, I had no idea how it worked. Basically, the pipes have stickers that correspond to the type of platforms the player can stand on. If a ball goes into a pipe of a certain platform, that one will crack. So in this example, I'm standing on the square, and the ball went into the pipe with a square. So I knew I had to jump away, otherwise I would die. This level ends fairly quickly, at least it did when I played it, but as more people understand how it works, I could see the game lasted longer. And oh yeah, I only played the level 4 times. Slide and Smash is basically the Teemo version of Hoop Shoot, and I've played this level 11 times, and I hate how when you jump dive for a box, you almost always ragdoll. Could be that I haven't played it that much, but I enjoyed almost every game of it. Love the variety of routes and how they spread out the points, though I almost always go for this path where blocks lined up one after the other, or sometimes I'll be at the middle, then I'll jump dive for gold that's at the end of the path. I could see myself getting bored of the map if I get it too much, but if it's something I get once in a while, I could see myself liking it. Sorted Out is the next map, and it's something that I played 9 times, and at first I was really confused, which looking back at it is pretty dumb because it's pretty obvious where everything goes. This is very much inspired by Egg Scramble and Egg Siege, but you can't lose points once you get them, which makes the map a lot more chill, but less fun depending on the type of person you are. For me, I love that you can't steal points. Though you can grab people and prevent them from scoring, it's still a mad dash to get objects since they don't spawn quickly and only a few come out at a time. Though at times I score, but I get the points much later, which is a bit annoying. Also love how the goal is designed and the teeth constantly move. Overall, I'm a big fan of how the level is designed. Top of the Trash is a level I wish I got more often, having only played it 5 times, and this map is based on the children's game King of the Hill. Climbing the tower and reaching the top isn't that difficult, and thankfully getting back up after you've been knocked down isn't game over, as you can use the gloves or drums to get back up quickly. I really enjoy this level, and this map, along with the other ones Mutonic have made this update, shows the creativity and confidence Mutonic have in creative mode, along with how far the mode itself has come. Treadmill Tumble is up next. Played 8 games of this, and it certainly has treadmills. I will say I like how the belts that are on the walls sort of arch up, allowing you to climb up, which is pretty neat. It's never boring since you're moving from one section to another fairly quickly, although I could never land on the drums that take you to the top path at the start. It's simple and certainly designed well around its gimmick, that being conveyor belts. Wild Dunes. This was a level that I played 5 times and kinda wish I got it more often. I know the level is based on a desert, but I do wish we had some more colors being used for the flooring. The level does move quick, never doing anything for too long. The ending section gives you different options to traverse, which is great, and the risk taker in me loves the drums of the ending path. I've only played Wonderful Towers 2 times, and this level just shows me that if you use the right combination of colors, you can make your level look really nice. The purple and green really complement each other. The level looks like it came out of the actual medieval theme. Love the little stone design that's actually on the checkpoint, reminiscent of some of the classic Unity rounds that were based in Legacy Season 2. And out of all the levels added in this particular refresh, this one to me feels the weakest. Like, it's not incredibly annoying, but sort of near these last section, the one with the axes, it feels like they just play sort of haphazardly, and it still feels empty. And this particular creative actually made some phenomenal levels in Knockout. Not everything you make is going to be loved by everybody. I'm sure if you like this level, that's awesome, but I'm just not a fan of this level. Let's go over some of the changes in Fall Guys Creative. I'm not someone who makes maps or uses creative creative mode beyond seeing what things got added, and for the sake of transparency, I only spent 17 minutes in creative mode in this update, and I didn't have a chance to go over everything they added, so this section will be brief. The biggest thing they added was a new game mode called Points, in which players have to collect points by either going into score zones, destroying destructible objects, or popping bubbles to earn points. Survival mode introduced with the survival update aka 10.8 on February 28th, 2024, or 6 months ago. For reference, it took them 10 months to introduce survival. When Izzytorium unveiled their roadmap for the summer, I thought we were gonna get crown grab since the Fall Guy was holding onto a crown, but it seems like I got tricked, taken for a spin, or you might say bamboozled. And honestly, I'm so glad they added hunt, or points as it's called now. They introduced the rubber chicken power-up, which is such a great idea. It genuinely is, and like most of the power-ups, this fits the Fall Guys brand. You're able to change the physics of some of the objects. So in this example, I enabled the physics on the speed bump and it fell down, much like how the boxes do. And again, I didn't explore this option very much, but allowing people to have control of what their objects do is incredible. They could have added new objects and only made those destructible, but I'm glad they allowed you to make previous objects destroyable. As someone who makes videos breaking down updates, which includes creative mode, sometimes it can be hard to keep track of any new colors they added, since Fall Guys doesn't tell us what color or how many they added, and since I don't use creative mode to actually make maps, it's hard to tell. But they reworked the way you select colors with the color palette. They now group them based on theme, such as Scrapyard, Medieval, Digital, Space, and so much more. Even though I'm in the original theme, I can select colors from the digital theme. You can also select the original theme colors, which means digital theme levels can use colors from the original theme. Also, they added a bunch of decorations such as the barrel, crane, plunger bot, tire, and the beanmobile. And I'll be honest, I freaking love the beanmobile. We love the beanmobile in this household. And while post-season updates would introduce new objects or obstacles, they were never tied to a specific theme. Well, ever since they moved on from seasons, they never really did an update that had a specific theme. We did get a volcano 3D background, but that's as close as we gotten to a specific theme post-season. Well, until now that is. The fact that you can change the points that a score bubble gives you into the negative, meaning you lose points, is awesome. And not something they ever did with the levels made in Unity. Trigger zones are something that I need more time to play around with because I don't really understand how they work. But I can definitely see its potential and that people are going to make some fantastic levels with it. Previously, I mentioned how this update is laid out like a season of Fall Guys, which as you may know is something Izzytorium stopped doing and announced on their blog post back on August 16th, 2023. And for the longest time, people have yearned for the days for when Fall Guys used to do seasons. People just miss those times, and frankly, I do too. But this could be a topic for another video. However, this update managed to make changes that are reminiscent of these seasonal days, starting from the Epic Games anti-cheat pop-up that appears when you first click play while on PC. The art featured would be based on the season's theme, and the last time it changed was in the 10.4 aka Fall Force update, which released on September 22nd, 2023. However, this would be updated in the 11.2 update. The key art that would appear during loading screens would change to reflect the season's theme. This again would change in the 11.2 update. Whenever a season came out, the home screen would get a makeover. The music used in the lobby would convey the season's theme, like in Season 2 Side Scramble or SS2. It would be very space-like. And in the 11.2 update, they did change the track that plays in the lobby, and it sounds kinda scrappy I suppose, but it's not very obvious, at least to me anyways. It's if you're going for a more chill vibe I suppose. Most importantly, however, whenever a new season came out, we would get a live event on the day of release. For example, in Season 3 Saga Secrets, we got the Let's Get Kraken live event on day 1 of SS3. And with the release of the 11.2 update on September 3rd, we would get the Scrapyard Stumble live event. And that reminds me, whenever a new season will come out, we would get an LTM that contains only the new levels, like the Stadium Star Show, which only contained maps found in Season 1 Free-For-All. This was basically a way for you to only play the new maps that came out in that particular season. In 11.2, they released the Scrapyard Stumble LTM that only contains the new levels that Miotonic made. Whenever a season would release, we would get a season pass that coincides with the season's theme. Going back to our SS3 example, that season's theme was ocean, so the season pass had cosmetics that were based on the ocean. With 11.2, we got a fame pass that's based on the Scrapyard theme, and it did release on the day of the update, but it came out like 2 hours-ish later, which is odd. Also, with every season, we would get new obstacles or objects that showed off its theme, such as the Roombas or robots found in Hyperdrive Heroes, and that was added in Season 2 Side Scramble, the 360-degree seesaw, which was added in Legacy Season 6. And in this update, the destructible objects really fit the Scrapyard theme, and they would add decorations that was clearly meant to convey a Scrapyard feel. And to me anyways, adding these seasonal themed objects really immerse you into the map. Only thing we didn't get that a season will provide is a plinth changing based on the season's theme. We're still on the same plinth or podium that got added in 10.4 aka Fall Force, and we didn't get any new variations, but we did get a knockout refresh, which are new levels but only a knockout, and the classic levels didn't get any new variations. Well, you could say the punching glove variation that got added to Bubble Trouble is new, so there's that I suppose. Also, the logo would change every season to be in line with the season's theme. Here's what the SS2 logo used to look like, now here's what the SS3 logo used to look like, and the final season's logo, that being Season 4 Creative Construction aka SS4. All three are based on their respective season's theme, those being space, ocean, and digital/retro. And while we did get a logo change in the 11.2 update, it's not really a thematic change. The new logo doesn't really convey the Scrapyard theme. They took what they made in 10.4 and sort of remixed it only slightly. Although you could make the argument that every single season's logo change is a remix of the original, but this one just feels very apparent that it is just a slightly tweaked or slightly modified version of the 10.4 logo. One thing that's missing from most fame passes nowadays is the collab feature. In SS1 we had Godzilla, in SS2 we had Star Trek, in SS3 we had SpongeBob, and in SS4 we had Tomb Raider, Hello Kitty, and Death Stranding. And the only post-seasonal fame pass to have a collab was Fame Pass 4, which was entirely based on a collab, that being Final Fantasy. I missed when the fame passes would have collabs sprinkled in, especially with the high-profile collabs the game is doing nowadays. It'd be so cool to see one of them appear in the fame pass. Since I've played this update for a week, I haven't really experienced much bugs, but the one I did was huge. Basically, the music wouldn't play, not on the level loading screen, not during the game, nor during the game reward screen. I'm sure this is irrelevant to people who play the game without any music, but it just makes the game feel dead. It was strange that sometimes the music would be playing, but most of the time it wouldn't. When you search for a game, then back out, the 3D background goes away. It doesn't come back until you go to a different tab, then go back to the lobby again. A super minor bug I had was that the plus button that opens a Show Bugs bundle page in the lobby was nowhere to be seen. I had to switch pages a few times and then it showed up again. On September 10th, I noticed that in the game selector, the graphic on the top left was missing. I experienced 2 game crashes, which is annoying, but not bad since I play 109 games. And I personally haven't gotten the fail to download bug since the 10.8 AK Survival update. I don't know who or what hurt Miotonic, but goodness gracious, this event was a grind fest from start to finish. Releasing on September 3rd and ending on the 10th, which I find to be incredibly short, and second of all, winning 8 knockout games is crazy, and arguably wasn't the thing that took me the longest to finish. The points and survival qualified challenges were the ones that took forever. The points challenge had you needing to not only qualify but only end knockout, whereas the survival ones doesn't have that limitation. What's odd is that when the event came out it said, quote, qualify for points levels in any game, end quote. And I'd played Scrapyard Stumble, which has points levels, though they were like team games, so maybe it didn't count them since the game considers them as team rounds. I don't know. However, on the 5th there would actually change the text. Instead of saying in any game, they would just change it to knockout. Here's the real kicker. Point levels played in solos actually counted. And you can look at the Fall Guys stat sheet that I have linked in the description below. I didn't know about this till the 10th, or on the very last day. I assumed it was only a knockout and never bothered playing anything else, since knockout also has survival levels. So knock 2 rhinos with 1 blast ball, right? Dog, I swear, there's a higher chance of me getting struck by an asteroid than there is getting a points level in knockout. Why do they make them so freaking rare? And why do you have to qualify on them 40 times? Like, not even play. So if you lose, it's fine, but qualify? Like, come on, man. This is what my progress looked like by the time I unlocked the lower half. Just pure insanity. Although I will say, I only really started to finish the event on the 8th. I was busy working on my video about what it took to get Fall Guys Mobile. Ironic that Fall Guys content creator doesn't have time to play the game he makes videos about. I kid you not, one of my sessions was 8 hours, and even that wasn't enough to finish the event. I would call it a night, and the next day I got the upper half of the Fallen King skin, and I'll be honest, this skin was not worth all that. What I find insane is how the survival challenge can be completed by playing any game, which I assumed Explore would fall under, so I played a few survival levels and qualified, and nope, it didn't count, which is just so dumb. This event was genuinely awful. If this event had lasted for 2 weeks, just like the LTM, this would have been a lot more bearable. This section, I'll talk about some stuff I couldn't find a place for in the other sections. On the level loading screen, it now displays 3 tooltips, whereas before it was 10. It now gives the bare essentials, such as telling you how to grab, jump, dive, and how to move the camera. I would have kept the one where it said to dive on slippery surfaces, but everything else I'm fine with not being included. Most were just pointless in my opinion, such as the one where it says beans love to dress up. Like, people can find that out just by playing the game and going to the shop. In Knockout, when you're playing a level made in Fall Guys Creative, it now shows a share code, and I'll be honest, I'm very glad I decided to do that. It always felt odd that I decided to hide the share code when playing in Knockout, but when you're playing in Explore and you're also playing in, I believe, Customs, it shows the share code is not in Knockout, which makes it feel like it was a deliberate choice not to show it. It just felt really weird, because that's what separates creative from the Unity level rounds, is that if you actually want to play and actually improve on a creative level, you just find its share code and actually just paste in Customs and just practice. Or if you want to play with your friends, just find the code and paste in Customs and just make a lobby. Either way, this should have been something that was here day one, but I'm very glad to see it. In custom lobbies, you can play survival levels by yourself. Thank you to this commenter for pointing that out, because I wouldn't have known to check otherwise. Prior to this update, if you went into Customs and played a survival level by yourself, the game would end, since you were the last guy standing, but now it shows 0 eliminated on the top right. You either die or let the timer run out. In previous updates, they actually added individual classic maps into Customs, meaning you could play roll-off by yourself. Well, even though it said you could play it by yourself, if you tried to actually go and play a game of roll-off, you would actually instantly qualify. So now with this fix, I hope they consider adding those single classic Unity maps back to custom lobbies, because genuinely that would be the best way to practice roll-off. Also, the qualification box looks way different if you have 10 or less people. It shows 10 slots, which of course will expand as you have more people, but I believe the qualification box being this small is new to the 11.2 update. They added explore challenges to the challenge board. Oddly enough, it has a 2-hour time difference from the daily challenges, and honestly, the more challenges that we have, the more fame we get, and the more fame we get, the easier the fame passes are, so I definitely welcome this. If you play on console or PC, you are met with a surprise when you play the game, and that's double jump to dive, which is basically when you press jump 2 times really quickly, you dive, exactly like how it works on mobile, and that was enabled by default, and the game didn't tell you, although Mutang did say that it's optional in the blog post they made. I just hate the fact that they enable these new options by default. At least let us know via newsfeed that the option exists. When playing Explore, a reminder will not pop up telling you that you can skip the level. This gets triggered if you're respawning a bunch of times, and this can also be turned off in the settings. They would update the background on the No Monkey celebration while previewing it, which is cool, I suppose. Feel like that celebration has been tweaked a few times now. The emote and phrase wheel are much bigger now, which is great, making it easier for people who play on big screens, or they play on mobile, or they play on the Switch tablet or on Nintendo Switch handheld. This makes it much easier for them to be able to see the emote wheel. In the outfits tab, they changed the icon previews for faceplates. It's now more in line with the other cosmetics and fills a rounded rectangle shape, which I personally like. We also got a Spider-Man collab in Fall Guys, and it's something I wanted and even put in my collabs I wanted Fall Guys video that I uploaded on January 13th, 2024. Just chef kisses all around. I don't have much to say about the mobile port, but I will say it requiring 2 GB to download the update is nuts. The actual game didn't take 2 GB to download, and it took me 26 minutes to download the update on my Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. When it reached 25%, it went all the way down, then climbed back up to 26%, it then went all the way down again. But thankfully it was fine after that, and by the time it reached 12%, my game was already done updating on PC. They also fixed the 3D background on mobile. In the last update, even if you had 3D background turned on, it wouldn't work, at least on Android anyways. However, in the 11.2 update, when you turn it on, it works as intended. The mobile version now matches with the version of the other ports. In 11.0, when mobile released, it was 11.1.4, whereas it was 11.1.0 on every other port. The last number is for hotfixes. However, with the 11.2 update, mobile was on the same version as everything else, that being 11.2.0. All in all, the first week of this update has been leagues better than the first week of the 10.9 aka Fall Forever update, and minus the absolute grind fest that was the Scrapyard Stumble live event, I've been enjoying the maps featured in Knockout, and the points game mode is great, and the levels that Izzytorium made are pretty fun. It really shows how proficient they've gotten with creative mode, and I can't wait to see what players make with this new mode. It took a lot for Fall Guys to finally appear on mobile, and I went into great detail about what it took to get Fall Guys mobile, so tap the video on screen and I'll see you there. And thank you to our Max Tour members for your support as always.